Brooke, it's been too long. I'd love to catch up for a little bit, but first, would like to let you know that I have something that I wanted to send you in the mail, and it has to stay refrigerated. Is there a day in which I can have it delivered to you? Hey, Allie. What do you plan on sending me that has to stay cool the whole time? If it's something that could spoil or any other kind of food type, we don't need it here. No, it's something else actually. Look, this year you guys won't be coming to our house for Labor Day, right? So I was thinking, since it'll be the last bit of summer, I'd send some of Ben's favorite ice cream. The last time he stayed over here, he went to an ice cream shop just around the corner from us and absolutely loved their ice cream. Ah, that stuff that was pretty expensive, right? I remember he even got himself a pint of it to take home so that he could eat more of it later. That's right. So I was thinking of sending an ice cream cake to you guys from that store. So can you tell me a day that would work best for you to have it delivered on? Alright, then have that ice cream cake here on this Saturday for us. Anytime after lunchtime will do. Will do. I'll put it in for this Saturday anytime after 12 o'clock. Alright, thank you. Make sure that you eat a lot of it as well, okay, Brooke? My son has had to be at work a lot recently, so it's left you having to deal with Ben and the chores all on your own, right? And just like this time, he's had times in the past where he's been away for work for long periods of time, right? Thank you so much for being there for my boy. No, that's quite alright actually. I married him knowing that he'd be working out of town a lot, and so I don't need to be thanked for marrying him. Ben hasn't been lonely because of it? He's already in 3rd grade now, and he understands that his dad has to be at work a lot and doesn't mind either. He knows that his dad is doing it for the purpose of supporting him and I. My, so he's finally growing up that fast, is he? And if he continues down this path of picking up on things quickly, he'll be a real relief for both me and my husband. And as for my husband, it's nice that he's making a lot of money with his work. His work even rarely has to go through any layoffs, so it's a real blessing that he's made a career within that company. Well, that sounds about right. He works for the government, so he doesn't have to be worried about anything like that. But just thinking of Ben, he's still in elementary school, so he has a lot of time to change from the way he is now into someone else entirely. Now that I think about him, what is he up to right now? If you can make it work, I'd love to call him for a bit to talk to him since it's been so long. Do you think the two of you can call on another day? Right now he's with one of his friends at the library working on some reading practice so that he doesn't fall behind over the summer. Oh, how amazing of him to do that. When my son was in elementary school, he never cared that much about studying or anything to do within his school. Ben is really shaping up to become as great as you are, Brooke. Even though you say that to him, I know a lot of kids that never listen to their mothers and actually do that. Ben really is a perfect little boy. Well, then I guess I can wait for another day to hear his voice over the phone. Alright. I'll make sure he talks to you soon. Please, and thank you. Now, good luck with Ben, okay? It's still been pretty hot out for August, so make sure that you take care of yourself and don't overheat. Brooke, I just received that letter in the mail that Ben wrote for me. He even made a cute little picture for me, and it's warmed my heart up so much. Can you tell Ben thank you for me the next time you see him? Huh? You got a letter in the mail? Yeah, something that looks almost like a postcard came in the mail from him. Does this mean that you never knew he sent something like that to me? Yeah, I don't know a single thing about that. He didn't say anything rude to you in that letter, did he? There was not a single thing in there that came off as rude to me. Just things about how the ice cream cake was delicious and that he's been going to the library a lot to keep up on reading. He also wrote that he wants to come see me and his grandpa really soon. Is that so? Well, if there was nothing off about that letter, then that's a relief for me. But it's just amazing. I never expected that a kid his age would already know how to write and send me a letter. It's been a whole year now since we met, so this has really made me so happy. I'll let Ben know that for you, okay? I wonder where that boy learned to even send mail in the first place. Right now, most kids are all focused on using smartphones and things like that, right? You have a point there. I didn't teach him anything about that either. He probably ended up learning about it at school from one of his teachers. Haha, maybe he was asking one of them how to do so they had no choice but to show him. He's at the age now where if he sees someone else doing it, he'll want to try it out for himself. Allie? I know that I'm only just bringing this up now, but I think that you're being a little excessive with how often you contact me. Perhaps I told you about this once before, actually. I'm sorry, Brooke. Since then, I hadn't heard anything else from you, and after getting the letter in the mail from Ben, I wanted to let you know how happy I am. I know that you're not trying to be rude or anything by talking to us this much, but it's becoming a bit of a problem. It hasn't even been a whole week since the last time you texted, so you need to do something about that. And as for you sending us things in the mail, I'd rather that you don't do that anymore. I'm sorry for thinking about you all so much, but I really don't mind sending you guys gifts in the mail. And that's what I thought you'd say, but don't expect anything back from me. I'm the kind of person that means what I say. So what I'm asking is that from now on, you stop checking up on me all the time and sending all these messages and gifts. I understand that my husband is busy with work and all, but talking to me this much is driving me up the wall. Soon my husband will be back from his trip, so you can start talking with us then, so that I don't have to always be the one seeing your texts. Alright, Brooke. I'm really sorry for all of that. I totally understand how you feel about it all now. Well, if you do understand, that's great. I have a lot on my plate here, so there's no time for me to talk with you. I'm sorry, but I don't have the patience to just sit around and talk to you every day. And as for Ben, I'm the one that's raising him, so you don't have to worry about how he's doing while he's with me. Before you start to think that you can see him all the time because you're his grandma, think about how he's my son and he needs to be around me more than you. Now, I have to get going. Brooke, I have something to talk to you about. I'm asking you to please pick up your phone right now. What is it that you want with me now? Allie, calling me at 11 p.m. is very inappropriate, and I'm not going to forgive you this time if it's not for something important. I already told you before to stop talking to me all the time, so what do you want? Well, I'd like to know why at this moment, with what's going, you're trying to relax and get some sleep. Tell me right now, where are you? Why would I be anywhere else beside my house? Calling me this late at night, what the hell do you want from me? My son is trying to sleep right now as well, so stop with all this crap. If he is to wake up because of you causing me to move around, what kind of problems do you think that'll create for me? That's very strange, Brooke. You say your son is there sleeping, but he's over at my house with me. My son is? What the heck are you talking about? Ben came over to my house. I have no idea what you mean by that. Do you know how far of a trip it is for over to you guys from ours? That's not the kind of distance that some little kid like him could walk. Even an adult would have a hard time walking that far at this time of the night. I'm being serious about Ben being here with me right now. He seems to have taken the bus to get over here. The bus? That kid has never been on a bus before, so how did he take all that by himself? Ah, I think I get it now. You're at that age now where you're starting to become a little senile. Don't worry about it though, Allie, because Ben is back here with me. I'll make sure to let my husband know that his mom is starting to show signs, okay? Allie, I have something to ask about Ben. Wait, didn't you just tell me last night that we wouldn't talk to one another anymore for the time being? I'm sorry about that. I have something that I'd like to check out with you about. Something you'd like to check with me about? Did Ben really go over to your house? He did. It's about time you finally realized that Ben wasn't at your house at all. But that kid shouldn't have any kind of money on him, right? Yet how was he able to get on that bus last night? When you really think about it, that distance he covered was far too long for a third grader to cover. It's unbelievable, isn't it? Yes. Well, the way he got on that bus and came over here was by using the money I gave him for his birthday. Huh? You gave him money for his birthday? When did you send that to him? Recently, I had sent over that ice cream cake, right? Well, I happened to send the money with that as sort of a late birthday gift to him. I wasn't able to come see him after his birthday after all. I suppose you would have done that, huh? Ben has told me you never came home yesterday. He told me everything about what's happened between you and him while he was there. Allie, you have it all wrong. My mom ended up being really sick and needed help to be with her, and so I had to hurry up and head back to her house without a lot of time to spare. Then why didn't you just at least take Ben with you if it was back at your family's house? I had planned on being back to my house right away. But even still, that's pretty irresponsible of you to do that with him, right? Especially when you were out of the house for almost 2 whole weeks. Ah, right. You did end up coming home every now and then, though. But you only came home to change into new clothes, and that was all, right? Is Ben really telling you all these lies? So that's the way you're going to try and change the story for us? I have been doing all I can do to make sure that I'm always there for Ben. I'm sure he's just making me seem like a bad parent because I scolded him a little while back, but I only did that because he wasn't behaving himself. Brooke, let me tell you what condition Ben was in when he came over to our house last night. It didn't even seem that he'd seen a bath for at least a month. He told me he hadn't changed out of his clothes for almost a week and a half. There's no way he looked like that last night. After how badly he looked coming to our house with whatever strength he had left in him, I'm not going to be swayed by your pathetic excuses. He had no idea how to take the bus and had to talk with complete strangers about how to ride one. And the only reason he was able to find this house was after he took the address off the box of the ice cream cake that I'd sent a while back. He came here and told me to help him the moment I opened the door. And right after that, he passed out onto the floor. Ben passed out? What have you done to him? Don't start acting like you care. I've done nothing wrong here. You already know that this is due to him not having eaten in weeks. I had to take him right to the emergency room last night and the doctor had to run all kinds of tests on him. I had been trying so hard to be a good mother. I'm so sorry. I'll even try harder to keep an eye on him. I'm coming to see him right now. No, you're not. I don't want a beast like you raising Ben any longer. You couldn't even feed your own child, let alone be there to make sure that he was okay. There is no point in you being a mother to him anymore, right? I happen to have a neurotic disorder. So now you're going to blame this on your illness of yours? Every single time you're going to make up an excuse to try to avoid having to be responsible for what you've done. I'm being serious about this though. My husband has been gone for so long now, and I have to take care of everything in the house. And having a son that's still in elementary school is the hardest thing to handle on my own. But the last few times I've spoken to you, you made it seem all as though you were all right there. I was just doing that to avoid you. I don't think so, Brooke. For the time being, no matter what kind of excuses you may have, I'm not handling Ben back to you. I'll call the police on you. You don't have the rights to that kid. They'll come and arrest you for kidnapping him from me. If you want to call the police, go ahead and try it. Because you'll come to find that calling them will only make your situation a whole lot worse than it already is. Allie, please just give him back to me. I'm on my kid back right now. No matter how many times you try asking, it's not going back to you. I promise that from now on I'll put more effort into raising him while I'm alone here. Please just let me see that kid. You're being a pain in my butt. Then at the very least, don't tell my husband about this. You can keep Ben there with you for the time being, but don't tell my husband anything. I'll let you hold on to him until my husband is back in town. Brooke, you still don't understand the circumstances you've made for yourself yet? I'm not holding on to Ben because I want to keep him as my own. I'm protecting him because he came here asking for his grandmas to save him. Allie, I'll apologize for everything that's happened these past few weeks. This isn't a situation where you can apologize to me for it anymore. I had all sorts of stress build up due to having to raise that kid though. Your husband has worked the same sort of job my husband is working right now. You should be able to sympathize with the kind of feelings I'm having right now. I don't know the feeling of being home alone and having to raise a child by myself. I know very well the stress that comes with having to raise a child and all of that. But I've never been in the position where I chose to ignore my child because I'd gotten tired of them. Also, I'm already telling my son about this. Huh? But he should be somewhere where he cannot receive any calls or texts, right? Yesterday he was in an area where he could receive calls for a bit, and that's when I spoke to him. Maybe it was God's doing, but the timing of it was all perfect. Perhaps he was doing it to save Ben after all the hardships he'd been through with you. Did my husband say anything about this? I don't have to tell you what your husband said. You already know how he's reacted to this. My son has been the kind of father where he's not working or doing chores. He's out playing with Ben. I know that he's had to leave you at home a lot for his job, but he always feels sorry for doing that to you guys. Yet now he's at the point where he will no longer be able to trust someone like you with his family anymore. Allie, help me, please. I don't want him to divorce me. You left your own dang son and caused him to end up malnourished? You know that there's nobody going to help you out of this now? I'm so sorry though. I really didn't mean to screw up this badly. I will never do something like this again. From now on, I'll make sure that Ben is the number one person I think about. Ugh, that should have been the way things always were between you and your son. Please, Allie. Allie, I'll do anything to make this all up to you. I'll even let you see Ben whenever you want. And I'll never ask to talk back to you ever again. So please just forgive me for this and let's move on. You stop all that crying right now. This is not about me forgiving you or not now. Every time you opened your mouth, a lie came out, and anytime it wasn't a lie, it was some crappy excuse. I'm not going to continue discussing all of this with someone that can't learn from their mistakes. I am learning though. How else was I supposed to go about all of this before without anyone's help? And now you want me just to accept what's happening here? I've been a housewife all my life and now I'm being threatened with a divorce? My gosh, even now all you're thinking about is yourself? You haven't even expressed any worry about the condition Ben is in this whole time. So you're never going to see this boy again. It's too difficult for me to even understand why such a sweet boy had to go through something as terrible and heart-wrenching as this. How about before we continue anything, you go to the doctor and get yourself checked out? Tell them that you have troubles caring for kids and only ever think about is yourself. I'm sure they might be able to get you the help you need and get down to the bottom of that neurosis you have. From there, Ben's father came all the way back from his work and divorced Brooke on the spot. And with no issues at all, the judge made sure that full custody of Ben went to his father. And after discussions between the judge and both sides' lawyers, it was divorced that the reason behind Brooke never being home for those 2 weeks was due to her having another affair. And now, everyone has come to the conclusion that she deserves no more time with Ben. However, there is a concern about my son having full custody of Ben still, since he has to always travel for work, leaving Ben all alone at home. And so my son has been thinking about quitting that job of his and being here with his son more often. However, the one that told him not to do that was Ben himself. He told his father that the job he had is so cool and that he loves him no matter if he's gone for short periods of time. And so, because of that reason, my son has asked to move back in with myself and his father, and now the 4 of us live in this house together. And now that Ben is surrounded by both his grandparents, he's living the dream of always being spoiled before and after school every day. As for Brooke, her parents had disowned her over what had happened, and so she's on her own now working a low-end job. But in her current situation, she'll need to find more work to make money off than just having one job. Because if she doesn't, she'll be in debt for a very, very long time. And as for the man she had an affair with, he was also married, and so his wife ended up asking her for a settlement when she found out about their romance. I'm not sure what's going through the mind of Brooke at this moment, but I hope it has something to do with her regretting what she'd done to Ben, and we'll learn from it soon. Of course, everything she did is unforgivable, and so I never think I'll ever see the day that I do choose to forgive her. Just thinking about how Ben had written that letter to us back then, it makes me cry every time knowing that he was sending us such a sweet letter when his life at home was so miserable. I really wish that Brooke would have just asked me for help and I could have been over there right away to help take some of her parenting stress off her shoulders. But after never being able to see one another, he finally found whatever strength he had left to find his way to me asking for my help. I'm never going to let Ben have any more heartbreaking memories like this in his life. From now on, I'll do everything I can to make sure that Ben lives the happiest life he can, and to do so, I'm going to be spoiling the heck out of him. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story.